delicious. Today I have a delicious traditional Greek recipe for you. I'm going to show you how to make my Kolokythopita Strifti. That just translates to a zucchini pie that's in the form of a filo spiral. It is so amazing. You can use this as either a main dish by doing individual spirals or as an appetizer by forming it into a big spiral like we did the Kolokythopita a while back for Thanksgiving. So delicious, so crisp and buttery on the outside, and so juicy and flavorful on the inside. Tons of zucchini and feta go in this. Let's go over the ingredients so we can get started. So over here I have 5 zucchinis that I've grated and sprinkled a little bit of salt over. You want to let them drain for a good 30 minutes at least, so that way all of the liquid is released. You see all of that? You do not want that in a pie. Over here I have some salted melted butter, a little bit of salt, some freshly ground black pepper, a block of feta cheese, shredded gouda cheese, dill, a little bit of olive oil. These are some scallions, also known as green onions that have been thinly sliced, some fresh mint, and I have 3 eggs with a pack of filo. So today I'm using number 4 filo, which is the traditional filo that you find in most supermarkets. I do, however, prefer a country-style thicker filo. I do not have one on hand, which is great because I can show you that you don't have to find specialty ingredients. If you can't find something, you can use whatever is easy to find instead. So I am using the traditional filo, but instead of using 1 sheet, I'm going to use 2. It's just simple, nothing complicated. But if you can find the country filo, then it is better to use that because it just bakes up and becomes a little crisper in the oven. Also, you want to make sure that you thaw it out properly. Just refrigerate it overnight so it can thaw, and then leave it on your countertop for about 2 hours so it can come to room temperature. It's going to be so much easier to work with. Let's get started with making the filling. So I'm just going to put the eggs in the bowl. I have a large mixing bowl here. I'm just going to add them to the bowl and just whisk them together so that way they're nice and broken up. Very simple, very easy. Now I'm just going to remove the scallions from the water. Now anytime, let me put this down. Anytime you chop scallions, they have dirt trapped inside of them, so you want to put them in some cold water so the dirt can sink down to the bottom. And then you want to get rid of as much of the water as possible because when you're making a pita, also known as a pie, you do not want it to be soggy. Let's shake some of that water off. Now, if you were to pour the water through the strainer, all the dirt that sinks down to the bottom would end up back onto your scallions. So that's why you just want to carefully lift them out and put them in a little drainer or strainer and just get the water out that way. That is good enough. I'm just going to add this to the bowl with the eggs. I'm going to finely chop some fresh mint. Just get it off the stem. The smell of mint is so refreshing. So we're just going to go ahead and add the freshly chopped mint to the bowl. I'm going to crumble the feta cheese. If you've been with me for a while, you'll know that I never buy crumbled feta. It's not good quality, very briny, very salty, just not good. Crumble your own feta, buy it in the block form. It tastes a million times better. I'm also going to put the shredded Gouda cheese. I love Gouda cheese because it has a little bit of a tang to it. And then we're going to squeeze whatever water is left out of the zucchini. Let's make some room. You could do that with your hands. And put that into the bowl. All right, do you see all of this liquid that's in here? You do not want that in your pie. Just go ahead and discard that. I'm just going to run over and wash my hands real quick. Now I'm going to add a teaspoon of dry dill. I always have dry dill on hand. It's winter and it's not that easy to find fresh dill, and dry dill still has a lot of its flavor. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. Next, I'm going to add some freshly cracked black pepper, as much as you like. And just a little bit of salt. You don't want to add too much salt because we've already added salt to drain out the liquid from the zucchini, so it is already salty. The Gouda and the feta also has lots of salt. And that's it. Now we're just going to mix this all up. And that's it. Now we're just going to mix this all up. Okay, so the filling is ready. Now we're going to make the spirals. The filling is ready, except I forgot to add a couple tablespoons of olive oil. You need about 2 tablespoons, 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil should do. Let me give that one more mix, and that's good. Now we're going to make the spirals. Okay, so we're going to work with 2 sheets at a time. So we're going to take 1 sheet first. And if ever you're working with filo and the sheets stick together, please don't try to pull them apart. It's okay if you have an extra sheet in there. Just use 3 instead of 2 or 4 instead of 2. It's totally fine. Just make sure to drizzle butter on top of the layer of filo, just like that. You don't have to brush it. And then take the second sheet and lay that on top and drizzle butter on top of that as well. I leave the bottom third without butter because that's where the filling is going to go. Now I'm going to take about 1/3 cup of the filling and I'm going to put it on the bottom and I'm just going to spread it out. And if you think you need a little bit more, go ahead and add some more. And then we're just going to roll up. Perfect. And now we're going to twist it like this. We're going to turn it into a little coil. And I'm going to place this on a baking sheet that I have lined with parchment paper. Now you can make individual coils just like this and make them all like that, but I'm going to make a big one and then whatever's left over, I'm going to make some small ones. So again, we're going to do 2 layers, one at a time, drizzling butter over each one. And then we're just going to roll up. And this time we're not going to coil it, we're just going to put it around the coil. And we're going to continue doing this until there's no more room on the baking tray. So if it made enough to fill 8 rolls of filo, now I have these last few sheets left over. I'm just going to drizzle them with a little bit of butter, and I'm just going to scrunch them up and let them bake just in the same tray because I don't have any more filling to put in them, and I know if I put them in my fridge, they're just going to dry out. I mean, if filo dries out, you could always make a delicious Kolokythopita, which is a filo, an orange flavored filo pie. I'll link that up above. Now I'm going to continue to put the ropes because it's better if you make these like tubes of zucchini pie first and then go ahead and coil them around each coil. I think that's good because I don't want to overcrowd this one, and I'll make some smaller individual ones so we could have both and I could show you what both would look like. I'll take this one and I'll just let this cook in between. Now I'm going to brush them with the remaining melted butter. Now I'm also going to sprinkle a little bit of salt on top. That's optional, you don't have to do it. And also I'm going to put some black sesame seeds on top because it just looks really pretty. My oven is preheated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to bake these in the center rack until they're beautifully golden all around. I'll show you what that looks like as soon as they come out. So my zucchini spirals are done baking. It took 40 minutes for them to cook to become beautifully golden and crisp on the outside. It can take anywhere up to 45 to 50 minutes. Just keep an eye on them because every oven varies. So once they come out of the oven, you can take them out and you could put them on beautiful serving dishes. I like to serve the big spiral on a cutting board. I just think it looks really rustic and pretty. Let it cool a little bit. These taste great at room temperature and they still taste good really hot too. They're perfectly crisp. And now it's time to take a bite. The filling is perfectly juicy and fresh tasting. I love the zucchini. The zucchini is of course a very mild vegetable that doesn't have a very like standout flavor, but it is very fresh tasting because it was not pre-cooked. The feta and the mint just make it taste so nice and refreshing, as does the dill. You can also throw in some roasted red peppers into the filling if you wanted to. You could even put some mushrooms. The sky's the limit, but you do want the zucchini to be the star ingredient. So if you go a little bit crazy, you're going to kind of lose that flavor that you're going for. I think you guys are going to love it. You can go over to the website, dimitrasdishes.com, to print the recipe. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Subscribe if you haven't because you don't want to miss any of these delicious recipes that are coming your way. Thank you guys so much for spending time with me today. I'll see you all next time. Yes, yes.